The first bell rang across Maple Grove Middle School, and golden lines of early sun slipped between half-drawn blinds, lighting dust that danced like tiny planets around desks waiting for the math lesson to begin, promising ordinary routine. Mr. Hayes, tall and tidy in a crisp checkered shirt, strode to the board with the confidence of a seasoned coach, twirling a fresh stick of chalk as though it were a whistle that could command perfect silence. Around him, 30 students shuffled books and murmured sleepy greetings, but all eyes drifted toward a single boy at the back, small, timid Liam Parker, whose grades dipped like a tired kite even on gentle academic winds. Liam hunched behind a stack of worn notebooks, tracing the spiral binding with his thumb, hoping invisibility could be a real power if he wished hard enough, and kept his gaze nailed to his shoelaces. For weeks, his incorrect answers had turned the classroom chalkboard into a gallery of red crosses, each mark a loud reminder that numbers seemed to laugh at him whenever he tried to arrange them. Mr. Hayes cleared his throat, a sound sharp enough to slice through the buzz of conversation, and everyone straightened as though pulled by puppet strings, waiting for the day's first challenge. With theatrical flair, the teacher wrote a sprawling equation across the board, fractions inside radicals, exponents stacked like balconies, and variables wearing complex parentheses as armor against casual problem solvers. A soft collective gasp rippled through the class, the kind that said no one felt ready to climb such a tall mountain of math so early, not without ropes of tutoring or sturdy crampons of extra practice. Mr. Hayes tapped the final equal sign and announced, with a smile that carried both encouragement and mischief, that he would pick a participant who needed a fair bit of stretching today. At that moment, fear and curiosity tangled in the air like two strings of holiday lights, half of the students leaning forward and half shrinking back, none certain which half they belonged to. Liam's heart pounded against his ribs, drumming faster than the school marching band, and he silently pleaded for the teacher's eyes to slide past him like rainwater over waxed glass. But fate favored drama, and Mr. Hayes raised a finger, sweeping it across the room before stopping with gentle finality on Liam, whose name seemed to echo louder than any other when spoken now. A collective murmur rose, part sympathy, part relief, because someone else had been chosen to face the frightening equation, and every desk felt safer except the one that belonged to Liam. Liam swallowed, the sound loud in his own ears, and gathered his courage as though scooping water with torn paper cups, his sneakers squeaking while he walked the longest dozen steps of his young life. Each step felt like crossing a suspension bridge over a canyon of judgment, but he kept moving, counting silent numbers that no one else could see, numbers that brought him strange comfort. Mr. Hayes offered a reassuring nod, but his eyes betrayed doubt, the same doubt that often invaded parent-teacher meetings and report cards whenever Liam's arithmetic woes were mentioned. The chalk felt cold and fragile between Liam's fingers, and for a second he imagined it breaking like a brittle winter twig, raining embarrassment across polished linoleum for everyone to remember forever. He inhaled slowly, recalling his grandmother's advice that deep breathing could hush racing thoughts the way a conductor lowers unruly instruments before a gentle lullaby. While the class waited, Liam's mind traveled a hidden labyrinth he had explored in secret nights at home, solving puzzles harder than homework to soothe boredom when the world felt too noisy. Numbers glowed in his imagination like constellations, and formulas linked them with lines of silver thread, forming shapes that told stories nobody at school had ever heard him share. Unknown to his classmates, Liam had built towers of logic from library books meant for older students, turning fresh concepts into playthings the way other kids stacked colored bricks or card decks. Still, the stage of a classroom was louder than his quiet bedroom, and the chalkboard looked taller than his bedroom wall, so his secret felt fragile under fluorescent lights. A bead of sweat rolled down his temple, tracing a tiny river that ended at his collar, but he ignored it, focusing instead on the beating wings of possibility fluttering in his chest. He read the equation once, then again, each symbol settling into place like puzzle pieces that had waited patiently for someone with the right gaze to find their true neighbors. Behind him, sneakers tapped, pencils clicked, and a whisper of anticipation rose like wind before a storm, though no one dared disrupt the silence Mr. Hayes guarded with a stern brow. Liam lifted the chalk and made his first mark, a small rearrangement of terms that looked random to untrained eyes but pushed open a secret door to a simpler hallway of mathematics. The class leaned forward as if a magnet pulled them, eyes wide, because weak students usually erased more than they wrote, but Liam's line was steady and confident. He factored a polynomial next, splitting it like a magician cleanly sawing a prop box, and the once messy expression collapsed into something smaller and more polite. Mr. Hayes raised one eyebrow, the universal sign for professional surprise, yet he said nothing, allowing curiosity to bloom uninterrupted across young faces. Liam's hand moved faster, canceling terms, simplifying roots, and turning fractions upside down when they misbehaved, each stroke erasing a layer of complexity like peeling heavy winter coats. Soon, the left side of the board looked lighter, as though someone had opened windows and let stale confusion float away, leaving crisp, breathable reasoning behind. A girl in the front row mouthed, "Whoa," and even the class jokester forgot his planned pun about square roots because the unfolding miracle demanded silent respect. Liam paused only to wipe chalk dust on his jeans, then wrote the final balanced answer, circling it with a flourish too quick to feel boastful yet too graceful to ignore. For a heartbeat, nobody spoke. The room balanced on the edge of disbelief, like a seesaw frozen high in the air before gravity remembers its job. Then Mr. Hayes exhaled sharply, a sound of surrender and astonishment mixed together, and the tension snapped, replaced by a chorus of gasps and whispered exclamations. He stepped closer to read the solution, his finger tracing each line, searching for hidden mistakes the way a mystery reader scans for red herrings, yet finding nothing but clean logic. The teacher's posture softened, pride and humility wrestling inside him, because the weakest student had quietly conquered his own fear and the equation too. Liam lowered the chalk, suddenly aware of the hush now holding everyone, and he felt lighter than a leaf caught in an updraft, drifting above old doubts. A shy smile tugged his lips, small at first but growing as classmates exchanged looks that said maybe they had misread the quiet boy all semester long. In that shining moment, before the spell could break, Liam realized knowledge was not loudness, and sometimes true genius waited patiently, like a seed under snow, for the right day to bloom. Mr. Hayes finally found his voice again, softer now, and he asked Liam if he would kindly explain the magic steps that turned a jungle of numbers into the neat garden on the board. A light flush colored Liam's cheeks, but he nodded, stepping aside so the whole class could see every clean line, like visitors staring at a freshly painted mural that still smelled of bright ideas. He pointed to the deepest set of parentheses first, comparing them to packed suitcases that must be opened before you can find the socks buried underneath, and many heads bobbed at the simple picture. With calm words he showed how like numbers should stand side by side, the way friends line up for a group photo, because matching shirts make it easy to spot who belongs together in the frame. Even Jacob, the class clown, stopped twirling his pen, surprised that fractions and radicals suddenly acted like polite guests following clear party rules instead of rowdy tricksters. Liam described opposites that cancel as magnets placed north to south, explaining they snap together and disappear, and a chorus of quiet O's rose like popcorn in a microwave during movie night. Mr. Hayes strolled along the back row, hands clasped, letting the gentle lecture unfold because each plain image painted bright understanding over old stains of doubt that once clung to every mind. The more Liam talked, the steadier his tone grew, like a narrow brook finding courage to become a singing stream, and his classmates leaned closer to drink the clear water of his examples. Pencils scratched busily, the sound forming a drumbeat, while notebooks filled with stories instead of lonely digits, capturing the lesson so it would not fly away like chalk dust. Emma, normally first to volunteer answers, listened wide-eyed, realizing she was learning from someone she once tutored, and respect blossomed on her face like a sunflower turning toward light. Between explanations, Liam asked short questions to test for confusion, adjusting his words until every nod grew firm and the room felt lighter, as if someone had opened windows on a stuffy day. When he reached the final simplification, the last stubborn symbol slid into place like the corner puzzle piece, and soft smiles appeared everywhere because the picture was finally whole. Mr. Hayes clapped first, a crisp sound bouncing off brick walls, and soon the whole class joined in, a thunder of hands that rattled desk lids and carried joy higher than the humming ceiling fans. Dust drifted in the air like golden snowflakes, but nobody minded the tiny sneezes it caused, because the celebration felt warmer than any itchy nose could ever spoil. Raising his palm for quiet, the teacher admitted to underestimating Liam and promised to erase the word weakest from his notes, a confession heavier than the thick math textbook nearby. Liam shrugged shyly, saying numbers just made sense when the house was silent at night, though a spark of pride lit his eyes like a firefly refusing to hide beneath summer grass. Seizing momentum, Mr. Hayes unearthed the contest binder, fat with rainbow sticky tabs, and held up a page so dense with symbols it looked like tiny marching ants carrying seeds across white sand. He projected the problem onto the screen, its glow filling the room with silent challenge, harder than anything they had met so far, daring thinkers to keep eyes open rather than blink away. Instead of fear, a flicker of excitement spread across faces, because working as a team felt safer than solo flight, and Mr. Hayes declared they would tackle the beast together under Liam's lead. First, Liam chopped the monster question into neat bites, handing each group a smaller task, like hikers taking different switchbacks up the same tall mountain so every climber carried purpose. He wrote names beside duties, drawing little stars next to newcomers to show bravery matters more than old grades, and nervous shoulders straightened as confidence stretched awake and stood tall. Emma paired with Liam to wrestle deep algebra, while twins Max and Marcus took graphing duty, their athletic hands drawing perfect axes like sidelines chalked on a soccer field before a big game. Sophia, the class artist, offered to color code data points, turning plain decimals into bright dots that helped everyone see patterns as clearly as traffic lights guiding travelers on a rainy evening. The classroom soon hummed like a busy hive, buzzing with ideas instead of sting, because every worker knew exactly where to land and which bit of nectar to carry back home. Mr. Hayes wandered between circles, filming clips on his tablet for the principal, proof that learning can look like joyful play when curiosity sits in the driver's seat of the lesson. Victories popped up, a fraction simplified here, an intercept found there, and each success stacked like Lego bricks into a sturdy tower of hope reaching toward the grand solution. Whenever someone took a wrong turn, Liam calmly retraced steps, praising the effort before guiding a new route, showing that mistakes are signposts pointing toward clearer roads. Jacob, who once doodled dragons during lessons, surprised himself by spotting a unit error, earning a high five and proving hidden talents often nap unnoticed. Piece by piece, numbers slid into harmony, and the growing answer resembled a tuned choir, every voice and key, singing one truth of physics and algebra braided tightly together. At last they compared their result with a tiny printed answer, and the match was exact, as perfect as mirror twins meeting across still water, each reflection waving in agreement. A roar of victory shook the room, desk lids thumping like drums, until the intercom crackled that lunchtime awaited, though many wished the bell could forget its duty. Before dismissal, Mr. Hayes announced the birth of a new math club, open to every curious mind, with Liam crowned peer mentor, a leader who teaches by listening before speaking. The news felt like a bright doorway appearing in a wall, and even students who once feared fractions imagined stepping through with lighter hearts and pencils sharpened to hopeful points. Liam returned to his seat, pulse still racing, realizing that fear had built walls no one challenged, yet courage and teamwork had kicked those walls over in a single adventurous morning. He packed his notebook slowly, sliding a pencil behind his ear, and looking up he saw classmates lining to thank him, their gratitude sparkling like sunrise gilding puddles after rain. Each thank you felt like a tiny treasure dropped into his backpack, and he understood that sharing knowledge multiplies it the way one candle lights another without losing its own flame. As the hallway bell rang, chatter surged, but Liam heard Mr. Hayes whisper that labels can be wrong, and today the class helped erase an unkind one with 40 lines of logic. The teacher's hand on his shoulder carried both apology and pride, and Liam stored the moment in memory like a rare coin to tap when never doubts tried to slip back in. Walking out, Liam felt taller without gaining an inch, because confidence adds invisible height no ruler can measure, and his footsteps sounded like fresh chapters turning under shoes. In the bright corridor lighting, he promised himself to use his gift to help others trust numbers the way he always had in secret, for genius shines brightest when shared freely with all. Word of the morning surprise traveled down the hallway as fast as spilled juice on a slanted floor, so by the time Liam reached the cafeteria, almost everyone knew the quiet boy was a secret math ace. Students from other classes pointed with curious smiles, as if spotting a new hero whose cape was invisible, and their wonder felt warm instead of teasing. Liam balanced a tray of lasagna, milk, and apple slices, certain his hands might shake. Yet inside he carried applause that still fluttered like bright ribbons. Emma waved him to a table, usually reserved for planners and honor rolls, sliding her books aside to make room, and the simple gesture felt like stepping onto a friendlier map. Conversation swirled about weekend games and cafeteria rumors, but soon eyes turned to Liam, and questions poured out like marbles escaping a cracked bag, clacking across the tabletop. "How long have you known this stuff?" Max asked between gigantic bites, tomato sauce painting his grin, and Liam explained late-night library visits after the home Wi-Fi went to sleep. Sophia leaned in, comparing Liam's habit to unlocking hidden levels in video games, where treasures reward players willing to explore after everyone else logs off, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. The comparison loosened Liam's nerves, and he laughed, a warm sound rarely heard from him, skipping across the table like a pebble over calm water, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. Halfway through lunch, Principal Alvarez arrived, her silver lanyard jingling like small wind chimes, holding a clipboard speckled with sticky notes, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. She congratulated Liam for turning challenge into opportunity and invited him to join the district math showcase next month. A contest streamed live to every classroom, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. The thought of a stage with cameras felt huge, so Liam nodded slowly, letting the promise settle inside like a seed in fresh soil, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. Principal Alvarez also thanked Mr. Hayes for spotting hidden talent, and the teacher blushed, humbled by praise delivered in front of excited students, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. When the principal left, Emma suggested meeting after school to practice together, calling the group the Equation Avengers, and laughter erupted around the lasagna pan. Liam swallowed another bite, surprised that teammates sounded both wonderful and strange. He had always solved problems alone with only crickets for applause. The lunch bell vibrated trays and echoed against high ceilings, yet many students lingered, still surfing the excitement no bell could wash away. Eventually they rose to dump trash, but their chatter clung to the topic of possibilities, and Liam's name kept bobbing up like a happy chorus in a catchy song. Back in math class, the afternoon worksheet on ratios looked plain, so Mr. Hayes replaced it with puzzles labeled Collaborative Challenge, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. He mixed skill levels into small circles, making sure confident students sat beside those still finding their footing, and he placed Liam at a table not his own. The goal, he said, was to spread sparks rather than pile them, turning each circle into a campfire where warmth reached every seat. Liam's new teammates looked nervous yet hopeful, like hikers meeting a friendly guide at the foot of a steep hill. The puzzle asked them to design a playground ramp safe for wheelchairs, blending algebra with kindness, and relevance grabbed everyone's attention like a magnet. Liam opened with simple questions before facts, and shy voices surfaced, stepping onto conversational stones laid across a once-wide river. When mistakes appeared, he treated them as scenic detours, showing how wrong turns teach just as much if you map them carefully. Progress quickened, worksheets filled with neat numbers, diagrams, and smiley stickers that Mr. Hayes dropped like coins of encouragement. Across the room, the same rhythm echoed, proof that curiosity multiplies when given light, space, and someone to cheer. Period bells came and went, yet each group begged for 2 more minutes, a teacher's favorite complaint because it means real learning is happening. Finally, the end-of-day bell sent students spilling into corridors, lockers slamming like distant drums, but small pockets still talked math between quick strides. Emma caught up with Liam, reminding him of their 3:30 library plan near the big windows overlooking early blooming cherry trees. The idea of shared study felt bright, and Liam's mind buzzed with flashcard plans, sample problems, and maybe snacks to keep ideas sweet, and the moment felt bigger than the classroom walls could hold. He also remembered his grandmother's lemon bars cooling at home and decided treats could turn practice into a friendly feast. During art class, Sophia passed him a folded note doodled with a tiny polynomial monster thanking him for making math less scary. The note warmed him so much he almost forgot to rinse his paintbrush, and blue streaks lingered on his fingers like proof creativity lives in every subject. When dismissal finally roared, many students headed outside, but Liam stayed indoors, breathing the now quiet hallway air scented with floor polish and paper. He felt taller, not in inches but in reach, sensing new doors appear where plain walls once stood, as if the building whispered extra hallways just for him. Yet excitement walked hand in hand with worry. Showing his gift meant keeping it sharp, and he wondered if today's magic would repeat tomorrow. He shook the doubt away, telling himself practice shapes steadiness the way flowing rivers smooth stones, and he headed toward the library with a determined grin. Outside, clouds gathered, promising evening rain, but Liam welcomed the cool splash, believing growth often begins beneath gray skies. He stepped into the library right at 3:30, greeted by the smell of old pages and damp jackets, a mix that felt both adventurous and safe. Friends waved from the round table they had claimed as base camp, supplies spread like treasure on its wooden surface, and Liam knew the next climb was about to begin. As thunder rumbled softly overhead, he unpacked his notebook titled Showcase Strategy and heard the storm's drumbeat echo the new rhythm of his expanding world. The library at 3:30 smelled of old pages and rain-damp jackets, a soothing mix that greeted Liam as he pushed open the heavy oak door, careful not to squeak the hinges, a thought that warmed every heart. Sunlight filtered through tall windows, forming long stripes across the carpet, and dust motes floated lazily, dancing in beams like tiny fairies celebrating the storm outside, a thought that warmed every heart. Emma sat at a round table stacked with graph paper, colored pens, granola bars, and a plate of lemon bars Liam had rushed home to fetch, their sugar gloss still glimmering beneath plastic wrap, a thought that warmed every heart. Max and Marcus arrived next, lugging sports duffels that thumped against chair legs, evidence they had chosen study over extra basketball drills in the noisy gym, a thought that warmed every heart. Sophia came in with a sketch pad larger than her backpack, explaining she wanted to illustrate complex solutions so younger students could see ideas before reading them, and the group applauded the plan, a thought that warmed every heart. They christened the table Base Camp with a laugh, unpacking supplies like climbers unloading ropes and maps, while Thunder growled friendly reminders of the adventure happening inside, a thought that warmed every heart. Liam flipped his notebook to a fresh page titled Showcase Strategy, and the simple heading made everyone sit straighter, as though the paper itself had turned into a captain's while guiding a ship. First, they listed strengths, each student sharing what they loved most in math, patterns, geometry, word problems, and Liam wrote every detail, respecting that teams are puzzles too, needing all pieces snug. Then they circled weaknesses, laughing when Emma confessed fractions still looked like broken numbers, a joke that eased embarrassment for others who admitted their own shaky spots, a thought that warmed every heart. The rain tapped harder on glass panes, steady as metronomes, and the sound kept time with their conversation, pacing ideas so none felt rushed or drowned, a thought that warmed every heart. Liam proposed they practice with past showcase questions, escalating difficulty each session, and pair tangible rewards, like choosing the next pop song playlist, for every collective milestone reached. Max produced a portable speaker from his duffel, claiming music sharpened focus the way warm-up stretches prepared muscles, and soon soft beats threaded through quiet aisles between shelves. They selected the first practice problem, optimizing seating for a charity dinner to maximize donations, blending algebra with empathy, a combination that felt perfect for their mission. Sophia immediately began sketching the banquet hall, adding smiley guests and giant donation jars, translating numbers into friendly pictures, while Liam and Emma debated variable definitions. Marcus calculated distance between tables so wheelchairs could pass easily, explaining his cousin used one, and the group appreciated how math carried compassion when given space to care. When they stumbled over a constraint, Liam suggested acting it out, sliding chairs as pretend tables, turning the library corner into a mock hall, and laughter echoed under vaulted ceilings. The librarian peeked over shelves, finger to lips, but her eyes smiled. She remembered late evenings when empty seats begged for curiosity, so she let them continue with quieter giggles. Progress came like steady rain, constant, patient, filling gaps with small successes that pooled into confidence that could almost splash in, a thought that warmed every heart. After 2 hours, they reached the optimal arrangement, and Sophia shaded profit projections in bright yellows and greens, a sunset of numbers promising warm futures for the charity. To celebrate, they shared lemon bars, the tart sweetness sparking renewed focus for the next question, and crumb trails marked the journey across papers like golden milestones. Emma suggested a timed speed round with basic drills to keep reflexes quick, and they set phone timers, cheering each other like fans at a relay race, a thought that warmed every heart. Max surprised the group by solving a tricky decimal division under 15 seconds, and his victorious fist pump nearly knocked over a stack of algebra posters, a thought that warmed every heart. Small triumphs continued, each one building a stair toward tougher heights, and they climbed together, catching anyone who slipped, making sure no discouragement fell far. As dusk pressed purple shadows against windows, the storm softened, but inside the library ideas still flashed like quiet lightning between open textbooks. The librarian finally announced closing time, her voice gentle but firm, and they packed quickly, promising to return tomorrow with even bigger goals. Outside, puddles mirrored parking lot lights like coins scattered on dark velvet, and rain had cooled the air into perfect breathing temperature after deep thinking. Liam watched reflections ripple under his sneakers, picturing equations as puddles too, distorted until touched, then clearing into shapes revealing hidden skies. Emma elbowed him playfully, reminding him to rest because brains need sleep like apps need updates, and he laughed, promising to log off for the night soon. They parted ways at the bike rack, wheels spraying thin arcs of water as friends pedaled off, leaving Liam alone with streetlights humming above quiet asphalt. He slipped earbuds in, playing the day's study playlist, and music mixed with memory, transforming the walk home into a highlight reel of shared victory moments. Passing by the playground, he spotted the ramp from their earlier puzzle, and a wave of pride rolled through him, imagining future improvements children might enjoy because of math told kindly. At home, Grandma waited with warm cocoa, listening as he recounted every detail, her smile crinkling like wrapping paper because she always knew his quiet mind held bright sparks. She praised teamwork especially, teaching him that intelligence shared is multiplied, the way one candle lights another without losing its own flame. Liam promised her he would keep sharing, believing more strongly than ever that gifts grow when spent, not stored, and Grandma nodded, eyes shining. He climbed to his room, taped the showcase date above his desk, and set an alarm labeled Dream Bigger for 5 a.m. review, determined but calm. Before sleep, he opened a new notebook page, jotting ideas like seeds awaiting spring, careful to sprinkle tiny drawings so future sessions stayed fun. Rain faded into soft drips, cricket songs resumed, and the house felt like a safe shell where weary explorers recharge, ready for tomorrow's expedition. Liam drifted into dreams where numbers floated like glowing fish, each answer lighting dark water, guiding him beneath waves of possibility without fear. In those dreams, classmates paddled beside him in rainbow kayaks, laughing at splashes of square roots and exponential leaps, proof that learning could be joyful sailing. Dawn's first hint of gray slid beneath his curtains while he slept, and outside, puddles stilled, mirroring a sky stretching wide for the day his genius would take flight once more. Morning sunlight streamed through the Parker kitchen windows like golden math symbols, and Liam woke early to the smell of oatmeal sprinkled with cinnamon, feeling excited and jittery about another practice day. Grandma slid a warm bowl toward him, reminding that brains fuel best with breakfast, and she tapped the laminated showcase schedule on the fridge as if it were a treasure map waiting to be explored. Liam ate quickly, chewing numbers in his mind the way others chew toast, rehearing yesterday's strategies and picturing new puzzles that might appear like surprise guests at a party. After dishes clinked into the sink, he double-checked his backpack, sharpened pencils, color pens, graph paper, calculator, and the notebook labeled Showcase Strategy freshly bookmarked. Outside, puddles from last night's storm reflected small patches of blue sky, and Liam hopped over them carefully, deciding it was good luck to stay dry before big thinking days. Along the sidewalk, Emma pedaled up beside him, brakes squeaking hello, and together they glided towards school, wheels humming the same hopeful tune across quiet streets. The cherry trees in the courtyard had opened blossoms overnight, and pink petals scattered like confetti when a gentle breeze announced Friday's arrival to anyone who cared to notice. Inside the building, Mr. Hayes greeted them at the classroom door with 2 thumbs up and a new stack of challenge packets fan-like playing cards, promising fresh adventures before homeroom. He whispered that the principal had emailed a regional coach eager to mentor their math club, and Emma nearly dropped her backpack, excitement spilling out like unzipped side pockets. First period science passed in a blur of photosynthesis diagrams, but Liam still jotted tiny equations in the margin, linking chlorophyll cycles to ratios because his brain now saw math everywhere. During history, Max leaned across the aisle, sliding Liam a doodle of a superhero called Fraction Man, cape-shaped like a divided pie, and the sketch made them both snort laughter. When the lunch bell rang, the group met under the skylight, trading high-fives and honesty about jitters, deciding together that nerves mean you care, the way shivers mean you feel the wind. Principal Alvarez joined them with a surprise. Bright lanyards labeled Math Showcase Team, declaring official status, and cameras from the yearbook club flashed like tiny fireworks around the circle. Liam's lanyard felt heavier than its plastic weight suggested, carrying responsibility and pride across his shoulders, and for a moment he closed his eyes to memorize the feeling. After sandwiches, they hurried to the library for lunch hour practice, discovering the librarian had reserved a study room with whiteboards on every wall like blank movie screens. They split tasks again. Emma and Liam attacked algebraic word problems, Max timed speed drills, Marcus graph functions. Sophia turned successful steps into bright marker illustrations for their upcoming slideshow. Each correct answer earned a sticky note star, and soon the walls glittered yellow and pink, looking like a sunrise trapped indoors and cheering them forward. A tricky sequence question stumped them briefly, but Liam suggested reversing the pattern like rewinding a song, and the solution revealed itself hiding in plain sight, earning cheers loud enough to echo down aisles. The librarian peeked in, reminding them with a wink that the study room was not a stadium, yet her smile said she loved the noise of learning more than perfect silence. After the bell ended lunch, they promised to reconvene after school, and Mr. Hayes handed out permission slips for Saturday's community math fair, an event linked to the district showcase. Afternoon classes ticked by slowly, like pages in a long chapter book when you already know the exciting twist waiting ahead, but Liam took notes anyway, determined not to slack in other subjects. During art, Sophia unveiled a rough poster design, their team climbing a staircase made of giant numbers toward a trophy shaped like the symbol for infinity, and everyone applauded the image. The final bell released them into bright sunshine, and they walked to the library again, greeting base camp like explorers returning to a trusted cabin before summiting a taller peak. Max connected his speaker, pumping beats that felt like heartbeats, while Marcus arranged desks into a semicircle so each member could see every equation unfold. Mr. Hayes arrived with a guest. Coach Rivera, a retired engineer with kind eyes and a math puzzle handbook thicker than a dictionary, and introductions buzzed with curiosity. Coach Rivera asked the team to solve a real-world optimization problem about designing a skateboard ramp with limited wood planks, promising it mirrored past showcase questions almost perfectly. Emma set a stopwatch on her tablet, and Liam led by outlining given values on the board, turning words into variables the way bakers turn ingredients into dough. They debated slope angles, safety rails, and material cost, glancing at Max, who converted inches to centimeters on scrap paper like a human calculator juggling units. A midpoint mistake threatened their timeline, but Sophia caught it by sketching the ramp in 3D, noticing a missing support beam that the numbers alone had hidden, saving time. With seconds left on the timer, Liam wrote the final optimized design, circle around it drawn with a flourish, and the stopwatch beeped triumph instead of alarm. Coach Rivera shouted, "Outstanding," clapping once like a starting gun, then offered pointers, label diagrams more boldly, annotate assumptions, and practice breathing to slow presentation speed. He also taught a mnemonic for factoring quartic polynomials, Queen bakes royal cookies daily, and the silly sentence stuck instantly, drawing giggles yet anchoring the concept firmly. As twilight colored library windows orange, Coach wished them luck and promised to return Monday. His handshake lingered on Liam's palm like static electricity full of possibility. The team packed supplies, counting markers, stacking papers, and erasing boards until only faint ghosts of numbers remained, like campfire smoke curling after flames fade. In the hallway, Emma proposed a group chat named Equation Avengers so they could share practice videos and memes, and phones dinged acceptance, forming a digital safety net around their dream. Outside, parents waited in cars, engines idling in evening light, and Grandma waved from her sedan, thermos of cocoa visible in the cup holder, comfort already planned. Driving home, Liam stared out the window at passing street lamps, each one a tiny checkpoint, and he mentally replayed Coach Rivera's advice, filing tips into neat mental drawers. At dinner, he recited highlights, and Grandma listened like an archivist recording oral history, nodding each time confidence grew another inch taller in his voice. Before bed, he pinned the new lanyard beside his desk lamp, so first morning glance would remind him why hard work matters, even on days when excitement hides behind clouds. Sleep came swiftly, carrying dreams of ramps, trophies, and lanyards glowing like constellations, while a quiet promise echoed. Tomorrow they would climb higher still, one problem at a time. Saturday dawned bright and breezy, and Liam met his friends outside the community center for the math fair, their matching showcase lanyards gleaming like tiny medals that promised courage more than competition. Booths lined the parking lot under striped awnings, each featuring puzzles, science tricks, or number games, and the sweet smell of funnel cakes mingled with the sharper scent of dry erase markers. Principal Alvarez waved them to the main tent, where folding tables held blank score sheets and cardboard easels, and she reminded every team that today's goal was sharing ideas, not collecting trophies. Coach Rivera arrived with a wheeled crate of props, protractors as big as pizza pans and colorful foam shapes, and he winked, saying great explanations often need great visuals. Their first challenge involved balancing algebra tiles on a scale so that both sides matched a target weight, and Emma's quick trial-and-error technique drew cheers from a crowd of younger kids. Liam explained negative tiles as cold cubes that absorb heat from hot cubes, and suddenly tough equations looked like simple playground teeter-totters, earning points for clarity. Judges in blue vests carried clipboards, jotting notes while nodding at the team's teamwork, and Liam felt his earlier jitters shrink as confidence opened its wings like a patient butterfly. Next came a geometry relay, where each member sprinted to sketch precise angles on poster paper. Marcus's steady football-trained hands drew arcs as smooth as free-throw basketballs. Sophia added bright labels so lines looked like street signs on a cheerful map, and Max calculated area faster than a timer blinked, passing the marker to Liam with a grin. Liam connected their segments into a flawless hexagon, calling it Problem Solver Park, and the announcer laughed, awarding bonus creativity points that made the scoreboard chime. During break, they visited neighboring booths, trading puzzle cards like collectible stickers, and Liam discovered a clever code activity from a robotics club that he tucked away for later study. A tall middle schooler from another district challenged Fraction Man to a Fraction War card game, and Max accepted, winning the match after swiveling a mixed number into an improper knockout. The friendly rivals shook hands, admitting he had underestimated the comic book hero doodled on Max's notebook, and both teams posed for a silly selfie beneath fluttering pennants. Lunch tokens bought chili dogs, but the group skipped heavy food, choosing fruit cups so their brains would stay sharp. Emma joked that bananas are nature's flash drives. Afternoon events shifted indoors to a stage with theater lights, and Liam's heart thumped louder than the bass from the sound system as the final presentation round began. Teams drew random envelopes containing real-life optimization tasks, and Coach Rivera squeezed Liam's shoulder, whispering that every solution starts with one calm breath. Their envelope read, "Plan a community garden maximizing vegetable yield with fixed fence length," and Emma grinned because gardening reminded her of her grandmother's tomato patch. Liam outlined variables, bed length, width, border path, and asked Marcus to sketch a scale grid while Max opened a calculator app already set to landscape mode for big digits. Sophia organized color markers, assigning green to plant squares, brown to walking paths, and yellow to sunlight zones, turning a blank board into a blooming diagram within minutes. The audience leaned forward as Liam explained perimeter constraints like wrapping paper that must fit exactly around a gift, a metaphor that drew nods from even the youngest listeners. He showed how increasing bed columns reduced row count, balancing trade-offs until Emma spotted the sweet spot where total plant squares peaked without stealing path space. Max checked calculations twice, shouting confirmed, just as the timer's yellow light flashed, and Marcus thickened final lines so judges could see numbers match shapes perfectly. When Liam concluded with a summary, he took Coach Rivera's advice, pausing between points so words landed gently, like seeds spaced neatly in tilled soil. Applause rolled through the hall, and a volunteer handed each team a ribbon for completing the round, but final tallies remained secret until closing ceremony. Outside, clouds gathered, painting the sky silver, yet excitement crackled brighter than any hidden thunder, and the friends reviewed what they had learned while pacing the lawn. Emma realized her nerves melted whenever she asked a clarifying question first, and Marcus admitted sketches kept his thinking straight, lessons they promised to remember for the showcase. The loudspeaker finally summoned everyone beneath the main tent, where string lights flickered on, making pageant-style glow around stacks of certificates and a single golden plaque. A judge thanked students for turning math into conversation instead of competition, and Liam caught Grandma's wave in the crowd, her camera ready just in case. Third-place ribbons went to a lively group from Pine Valley, second to the robotics club with a code puzzle, then drumroll echoed while suspense stretched like elastic. First place, Maple Grove Equation Avengers. The announcer shouted, and for a heartbeat Liam's ears filled with white noise before cheers burst like confetti cannons. His teammates hugged in a tangle of lanyards and notebooks, and Coach Rivera lifted the plaque overhead, declaring it symbolized teamwork more than raw skill. Principal Alvarez snapped photos while Mr. Hayes wiped a suspicious sparkle from his eye, proud enough to float, and promised an ice cream celebration on Monday. Reporters from the local paper asked Liam for a quote. He said, "Math is just a puzzle everyone can help solve if we share the pieces," and pens scribbled furiously. As cleanup began, the team helped stack chairs and roll cables, believing victories feel better when you stay to sweep confetti after the party ends. Grandma hugged Liam near the exit, whispering that genius paired with kindness can change any room, and Liam tucked the words into memory beside Coach Rivera's tips. In the car ride home, the plaque rested on Liam's lap like a friendly pet, and he traced letters with gentle fingers, smiling whenever headlights made them sparkle. At bedtime, he propped the award beside his lanyard, layering achievements like steps on a staircase he could climb whenever doubt tried to pull him down. He opened his notebook and wrote a single sentence, "Share the puzzle pieces," then closed the cover softly, trusting future pages to fill themselves with effort and friends. Rain pattered again outside, but inside his room the trophy glowed under the desk lamp, reflecting tiny rainbows that reminded him of garden beds drawn in marker rows. Liam fell asleep hearing distant thunder and nearer breathing, dreaming of a bigger stage ahead, yet feeling ready because the Equation Avengers had proven that genius grows brightest in good company. Monday morning, the halls of Maple Grove Middle rattled with excited chatter, because the Equation Avengers were set to speak at assembly about winning the weekend math fair. Liam woke early, polished the golden plaque with a soft cloth, and tucked it safely into his backpack beside a stack of bright note cards. Grandma sent him off with banana muffins, reminding that steady hands grow from steady breakfasts, a rule she swore was older than algebra. On the ride, Emma texted the team chat, "Let's keep it simple, smile big, and remember to breathe," and the message earned 7 straight thumbs-up emojis. Mr. Hayes met them at the front steps, holding the auditorium key like a proud door guard, his grin wider than the polished stage floor inside. The lights felt warm on Liam's face when he stepped to the microphone, but he pictured calm numbers floating overhead, ready to guide every word. He began by thanking classmates for cheering him on, comparing the school to a huge puzzle where every student is a needed piece. Emma told the story of balancing hot and cold algebra tiles, and younger grades laughed at the thought of cubes wearing tiny winter coats. Max lifted Fraction Man's doodle, now printed on poster board, and explained that humor can turn scary fractions into friendly pizza slices. Marcus showed the giant protractor Coach Rivera built, stretching it above his head like a rainbow to demonstrate how angles can be measured with color. Sophia projected her 3D ramp sketch, pointing out the hidden beam that saved the team precious seconds, proof that art can rescue math in trouble. The students clapped after each short tale, and even the 8th grade athletes at the back leaned forward, curious despite themselves. Principal Alvarez stepped up next, declaring Math Club an official after-school program with its own bulletin board and a tiny budget for markers. She also announced that regional news wanted a video segment, and a hush fell as cameras from the media club rolled in like curious robots. Mr. Hayes invited the Avengers to tackle a quick demonstration problem, scribbling a messy equation on the smartboard with a theatrical flourish. Liam took a deep breath, recalling Coach Rivera's advice, and suggested they solve aloud so everyone could see thinking happen in real time. Emma rearranged terms, Marcus factored, Max canceled fractions, Sophia drew the steps, and Liam boxed the final answer, all within 2 calm minutes. Cheers erupted, the plaque glittered under spotlights, and someone started an impromptu chant, Maple Grove Ete, echoing off painted cinder blocks. After assembly, teachers told students to head to class, but happy energy lingered like bright chalk dust that refuses to settle. In homeroom, Liam opened his locker to find sticky notes from classmates. "You inspire me. I tried the cold cube trick, and math feels less scary now." The notes made his chest flutter, not from pride, but from the gentle weight of being someone's spark, a responsibility sweeter than muffins. Third period English featured a writing prompt about weekend adventures, and half the class wrote essays titled Equation Avengers Save the Day. Mr. Hayes popped in, delivering envelopes, official invitations to the district showcase tryouts set for 2 weeks later at Riverstone High. The letter warned of tougher judges and longer problems, but also promised pizza for all contestants, which Max claimed was perfect math fuel. At lunch, the team gathered under the skylight again, spreading the invitation, permission slips, and a freshly drawn timeline across 3 tables. Marcus scheduled evening video calls. Emma made a list of topics to review. Sophia doodled a banner reading Road to Riverstone in bubble letters. Liam volunteered to build practice tests from library books, promising to swap pages among them so no one knew which problem they would face first. Mr. Hayes approached with Coach Rivera on a speakerphone. The retired engineer congratulated them and offered weekend workshops in his garage. The garage, he said, held whiteboards, scrap lumber, and a popcorn machine for brain breaks, an offer the team accepted before Rivera finished speaking. That afternoon science class became an impromptu brainstorming session, with Liam sketching circuit diagrams that doubled as ratio puzzles on notebook margins. Emma whispered that nerves were already rising, and Liam replied that nerves feel smaller when broken into steps, exactly like long equations. Max suggested designing team t-shirts, half joke, half serious, and the idea took root when Sophia began sketching logos of gears shaped like numbers. The final bell sounded, and instead of rushing out, the Avengers stayed back, wiping desks and stacking chairs, a quiet thank you to the room that hosted their first miracle. Outside, clouds glowed salmon pink. Wind rustled cherry blossoms, and Liam realized the courtyard looked like confetti again, nature replaying its own applause. Walking home, plaque secure in his backpack, he mapped out the upcoming days in his head, treating each as a variable ready to be solved. Grandma greeted him with cocoa streaked by melting marshmallows, and he shared every moment, from chants to sticky notes, until her eyes misted with proud warmth. That evening, Liam typed a group message. "Tomorrow starts Riverstone Prep. Let's turn big nerves into bigger numbers," and 9 cheerful reactions popped up instantly. He spent an hour crafting new practice sets, labeling difficulty levels with tiny star icons, making sure every problem hit a playful twist. Before sleep, he pinned a Riverstone invitation beside the plaque, layering goal atop victory so dreams could climb from one to the other while he rested. As moonlight filtered through half-open blinds, Liam whispered a promise, help people see math as a friend, and drifted into quiet dreams of numbers glowing like fireflies in the dark.